Welcome. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Saturday. Happy 2024. I hope you guys had great start of the year so far. I wish you all the best. I'm looking forward for this year. I think it's going to be an amazing year, and I wish exactly that for all of you. Health, prosperity, success, growth, and yeah, many green pips in the market as well. So welcome back to this live streams. Many things are going to change to the positive side for us in here. So I'm looking forward to be working with all of you much more and to share much more content as well on YouTube and the other socials as well in here. So yeah, the market is back after kind of took a pause between Christmas and New Year's, and now back at it, even though there were quite of good reversals exactly during that week around the 28-29 of December. There were kind of good moves that kickstarted the new trends in here that you could look at. So yeah, if you are new, feel free to subscribe, to like to the channel. Basically on Saturdays what we do is a weekly market analysis. We're going to go through the different types of assets from FX, indices, commodities, and a little bit of crypto as well. Okay, so basically the main point is for us to take a look into what we are expecting for next week and which levels are we expecting price to react from, and where are maybe the good opportunities to take advantage from. So if you do have any ideas, if you'd like to share or to comment on any specific setup, feel free to comment or to share with me on the comments, and we are going to take a look into it together in here. So yeah, welcome. That's kind of what you're going to be doing for the next 1 hour or so in here. And as always, we start with the dollar index, right? Because of the correlation that the dollar index has with all the remaining assets. That's why we always like to analyze the dollar index. Okay, and it was a good start for the dollar, a good start of the year for the dollar, moving to the upside. Again, as I mentioned, basically after that turn on the 28-29 of December, where it finally reached the target that we have been looking for quite a while. Okay, so that's basically what we were looking at for a while on the dollar. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, so that's exactly what we were looking at, and it finally reached the level. I hope my audio and everything is working properly. So this is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, we're looking for the dollar to get closer to this to these zones in here. Okay, and there was that specific demand zone in there with these lows that we were looking for, and we have been looking for that after price actually turned from this level, after starting breaking these lows and confirming the move to downside. That was basically November, October. We picked November, we had the confirmation to move to downside, and we had the NFP, CPI, FOMC, everything. And during those three events, basically the dollar just continued to move down. That's basically all these strong bearish candles. And the main reason that we were looking actually for price to eventually fill all of this is because everything was compressed basically on the way up. Okay, you could see that during basically since the middle of July until the beginning of October, the price has been moving, of the dollar has been bullish, and the way it was moving to the upside is always retracing, taking the previous demand and then moving upwards again and keep moving like that, right? And when you have this kind of a move to the upside, when eventually price then turns, there's not going to be actually many things holding price to the upside. Okay, kind of working as a support for price to go higher. There are maybe a few fresh levels. For example, this one stands out to me right now. Okay, so that level in here could have worked could have managed to hold price to the upside, but since actually it was broken, what ended up happening is actually it worked to the opposite side. Okay, it actually helped price to keep moving lower. So instead of working kind of as a demand or a support level, it actually starts working as a supply or a resistance level. It's exactly around the same structure, okay, around this level in here, and you can see how price reacted from that level. It reacted from here as well, and it kept moving lower than that. What were the other levels? Okay, so this was out taken, so this was the next level that was still fresh in here. Okay, and there you go, we saw some reaction. Okay, now it's normal to see some reactions from here. The question, the main difference is, are we expecting just some reaction until eventually price continues to move down, eventually get to the target, or are we expecting actually the full reversal from here and price to resume the move upwards? Okay, so as we start getting closer and closer and closer to eventually the final target, the tendency to be just to see a little bit of a correction before then price moving and eventually reaching the final destination, which was again around this structure in here that you're looking for on the dollar index. And that's basically what we have been covering since we start turning in here, to look for those levels in there. Now, personally, I think there's maybe still even a little bit of a space in here that price could and can even go react from, or can we use it a little bit in here, because this level basically just reacted from the zone above it, which still left a little bit of this one left behind, and now we have kind of a double bottom created in here. Okay, between this low and that low in there, and there's maybe still a little bit of space to be filled in here. So that's a little bit maybe for the future. It could have happened, or could have happened this week, but price literally just continued to move upwards, never really had any kind of retracement to the downside. So that's basically what we had in here. Okay, and yesterday already with the first NFP of the year, sorry, we saw a little bit of a correction, which was, again, we can talk a little bit about the NFP and the expectations that we had and the predictions that we made for the NFP. And but before that, actually, let's take a look at, again, in terms of news, right? So that's kind of what I want to mention, right? We started now the year with already with the labor market announcements, which again, NFP coming out slightly stronger than expected, right? It come out at what was the number, the real number in here, 216k, right? So basically the unemployment rate continues to be the same at 3.7%. Maybe the market was expecting to rise to 3.8, didn't happen, still 3.7, right? Now, what we saw during the beginning of this week, it was the indices basically every single day they were moving down. Okay, so since they opened on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 consecutive days, and actually they closed the year already in a negative way, just the same way the dollar was closing or kind of moving upwards. So we had all that bearish move on the indices, bullish dollar, commodities a bit more indecised. But one of the main reasons for actually this move to the downside on the indices, for example, isn't concerned basically with when are you expecting to see the first rate cut from the Fed? Okay, and this is something that we can pay attention in here, which at this point, again, for the next meeting, it's 100% guaranteed that it's going to still be the same rate. Okay, there's not going to be any rate cuts, but this is where the main difference now happens between what the market is expecting and what the Fed may do. Okay, and that's how is this clashing between the expectations from the market and from what the Fed may do. That's where maybe there's the difference of the expectations, which then can lead to maybe more bullish moves or bearish moves based on that. Okay, for example, 1 year ago or something like that, that was some of the expectations, which is to see when we're expecting the Fed to peak, like when it will be the last hike in interest rates, right? There was a big difference between what the market was expecting and eventually what the Fed did until increasing to this 5.5%, right? So that was one of the difference between kind of 2022 and beginning of last year. And now the topic is going to be completely focused on when is going to be the first rate cut. So the market at this point is expecting for the first rate cut to be in the second meeting of the year. Okay, the 20th of March, this is when the market is pricing in, as you can see at this point, is at around 62.3% expectation. So the odds are for the Fed to have the first 25 basis points rate cut in this day. Okay, on the 20th of March. Now, what you could have seen is that before this was something that changed after the last Fed meeting. Okay, the last Fed meeting, it was 14th of December, something like that, and basically the Fed came out quite dovish. Okay, so the market reacted really positively because basically the Fed Chair Powell mentioning that, yeah, we did enough. We are maybe starting to consider to look at these rate cuts for next year. It's maybe the first time that that word was mentioned during all these press conferences during all this last basically 18 months of all the situation. And the market was super bullish, right? And you can see basically since November that the Fed, that S&P indices and everything, they've been quite bullish and dollar moving down. And this one, actually, before that meeting, the expectation was for the first rate cut to be between May or June, and all of a sudden after that meeting, the expectation was to happen in March in here. But what you can see is that actually this number, or the odds, are starting to reduce, and this is basically one of the reasons to see this move to downside from the market in the indices. Okay, so as you can see, it was at 73% 1 week ago, and now it's at 62%. This 54% is actually still before that Fed meeting. Okay, the day after the Fed meeting, again 15 of December, this number actually went almost to 80 or almost 90% chance for the first rate cut to occur in March. Okay, so this basically has been reducing. The expectations are starting to be managed, and the reason for that as well is because during this last meeting in December, the Fed also announced their projections. Right, every quarter the Fed during the press conference actually makes the projections or what to expect until the end of this year, next year, and so on. Right, maybe 2-3 years in advance, and they look at the GDP, unemployment, inflation, and expectation for the rate cuts and where the rate cuts may be, or the interest rate may be throughout that time. And based on that projection, basically the Fed, yes, is still expecting to cut rates this year, but only closer to summertime or getting even closer to the end of the summer. Okay, basically, if you look at what the market is expecting, a complete 1.5% rate cut during this year, and the Fed may just be looking at 1% rate cut. Like there's a 50 basis points difference in there, and that's kind of something that again, it's going to be played a lot in terms of the expectations. With that being said, then we are looking now for the news, right? And what the news may impact, or how may the news impact all this situation. And what news are we talking about? We're talking about the unemployment, then eventually CPI, which is going to come out next week. Okay, even though CPI at this point is not really kind of something that still matters. Okay, CPI was literally the main focus in 2022, the inflation, but now it's not really kind of the main focus. Main focus is going to be into the unemployment and also the state of the economy, like looking at this manufacturing, services, PMI constantly. That's going to be something interesting. GDP also can be quite interesting. And there you go. For example, what we were expecting yesterday, since we had a full negative during the week, the indices were just moving to the downside, and this was kind of just already pricing in this maybe adjustment between when the rate cut would occur, then what will be the reaction for the non-farm payroll, right? So again, are you going to start looking at good news as bad news, or good data as bad news and bad data as a good news? Yes or no from the market, right? Because again, if the unemployment continues to be quite steady, and at this point continues to be 3.7%, maybe there is no reason for the Fed to start rating cuts that early. Maybe they can just continue to keep the rates unchanged, maybe until the summertime or maybe Q3, whatever it may be, right? If by any chance the unemployment starts to actually increase, then maybe it's going to force the Fed to act quicker in that regard. On the other side, like this is where the situation of good news, bad news, and so on. However, on the other side, again, the market end up reacting positively to the news, because again, it still shows the resilience in the employment and the strength in the economy in the US by looking at this 3.7% as something positive. And that's why finally then we eventually saw the move to the upside on the indices. And one of the way to predict that, again, if by any chance during just before if you have a big news on Friday and you spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday moving always in one direction, in this case negative, there's a kind of a high probability that price will kind of correct during that news event on Friday, especially depending on the approach, looking also where price is reacting to on the left side, and Yes, and the approach that price is doing. Okay, so if you start combining everything, all the information that you have, and then the type of price action that happens in the moment, it kind of gives you a clue of what to expect in that regard, right? And especially for the indices where they reacted yesterday, S&P, NASDAQ, it was quite a quite good level to actually anticipate that retracement. That is a retracement, right? Doesn't mean that price will just now, or the dollar now is going to be the crash, and the index is going to just move and retest the highs. It doesn't really mean that, but at least for the moment of the news, yes, especially with the first spike that happened on the opposite side, that was quite good as well to collect liquidity in there. Again, so this is basically a little bit of the data that you're looking at and paying attention to, and what the market has also been paying attention during this beginning of the year in here. Okay, it's basically one of the main points is going to be between, again, managing the expectations between what to look for, between what the market is pricing in for the initial rate cut and what the Fed actually may do. Okay, and then again, we have some of the Fed members every now and then coming and commenting on their own expectations on what maybe what they're looking at, trying to always manage a little bit the expectations also for the market, and so on and so forth. All right, so now looking at in here. By the way, let me know if you actually like to learn a little bit more about fundamentals, and if that's a topic that you'd like to continue to be talked in here by me, or if you just care about the price action, and then that's kind of the only thing that you look at when making decisions. Okay, yeah, let me know in the comments if that's something that you pay attention to or not. All right, so now we have dollar index. Okay, and this is basically what we have on the 1 hour time frame. This is where we are, and basically this is kind of an engulf to the upside, to be honest, in the bigger picture. Okay, so what I was looking for this week was yes, the dollar to continue to move upwards. I was looking for a potential move in here to the downside, or actually I was looking for price to break these highs and then have a correction after reacting above this level. Okay, so I wanted to see these highs being taken to show and indicate more bullishness on the dollar index, and then the question mark, it will be, are we going to have a deep retracement before making the continuation to the upside or not? And the key level that I was looking for, paying attention to, was within this rectangle that we had in here. Okay, so basically we broke the highs, and the question mark, it will be, if we do break below this level, maybe there's a chance for a deep retracement before now price feels kind of the next range in here. Okay, since that never happened, then price just continued to go higher, and then yesterday with the news we printed and we make that fake out and basically filled out the range all the way until there. Okay, so basically you can see this candle, we are on 1 hour time frame. Okay, and 1 hour time frame, this is where we had this big sell off, this bearish candle, and then this is where we have the first pause before continue. And these targets, these edges, they are quite important. Okay, that's actually some like a level that it looks like it works as a magnetic for price to go and being attracted towards those extremes, either respect the extreme or kind of break it slightly, and that can be a confirmation of a kind of an engulf in this case for price to then maybe feel or get closer to the next range, which maybe somewhere in here. Okay, maybe feeling all this. Now if you go into the lower time frame, in reality there is a level in here that still matters. Okay, and you had this previous level of demand that actually can work as supply in here. Okay, so again, price is actually reacting from an interesting level on the left side in there, and in the lower time frame what I wanted to mention is exactly this one. Okay, so we do have this zone in here, which is kind of a clean supply level. Again, as you can see on 1 hour time frame, this is the high that you can look at, but on the lower time frame, this is actually a little bit more detailed information. Okay, so I had that move down, and then you had this new supply being created, and we have the continuation. So this is actually kind of a good level where dollar index reacted from. And sometimes this is exactly the levels that price likes to go to, which means They are not visible on a higher time frame, kind of maybe 1 hour, 4 hours, daily. They are not really visible, and it looks like price is just reacting from in the middle of nowhere, without really making that much sense. But if you actually then go into the lower time frame, you can actually see a little bit of where price is reacting from, and it actually makes sense for price to pick out these highs that are visible on maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hour daily, because that's maybe where people think that there's going to be a level too short. It's going to be below that structure or that high. They may see it as a level of resistance, and then all of a sudden they start putting out their stop losses just above that level, which is exactly in the lower time frame into the real supply level that's maybe in there, which is actually basically where price end up reacting from. Now we started to slow down a little bit, and this is where I mentioned in terms of the approach. How is the approach starting to look like before this news event as well? Right, we start to slow down. Okay, so we had this momentum, we had this acceleration. Again, I'm going to ignore this candle in here. I have no idea what this is about. It says it's kind of at 2 p.m. or something like that, and not 2 p.m, 2 a.m. in the morning. On the 3rd of January, I have no clue. I think this is just a glitch in their system, so I'm going to ignore it, because it is actually kind of an important lesson here, kind of the way we'll be looking at it. So let's actually cover it, because if this actually occurred, if this candle happened and we actually managed to break below this level, I'm no longer looking for any specific, especially if price gets closer to this level, I'm not going to be looking for anything in here. Okay, I'm going to actually then anticipate for price to go below this level whenever it retraces. Okay, to go below this level and maybe look for another kind of, if I'm looking for a long, it's going to be already below this level in here, not above this high. And that's why kind of, again, anytime you kind of see these glitches in here in the market, in the server that servers created, or broker, whatever. Yeah, it's a bit tricky, because this will be definitely a valid zone of demand for price to react from, but it didn't even just react, it actually broke it. So that kind of opens the door for price to go further down whenever it starts retracing closer to this level in here. So that's just something to bear in mind looking at this move in here. Aside from that, yes, we did have a good reaction, and then we had that big spike. Everything was compressed in here, and then we kind of broke it, and we will see now what's going to happen next. Now, as I mentioned, in the bigger picture, and this is kind of where the dynamic of different time frames and so on matters, because in the bigger picture, yes, it's an engulf to the upside. Okay, we did manage to break this high on the higher time frame, even though, as we could see on the lower time frame, price actually reacted from a good level, and that level is good to look for a short in the moment. But in the bigger picture of what you're looking at here, this actually may be an engulf upwards, and there's maybe a chance for price actually to get closer to this range in here. Okay, now price can literally maybe resume all the way down and collect some more new buy orders from here until it finally reaches that level. Okay, so this may be the moment to look for a deep retracement in here, because now what we have is basically a break in here to the upside, but you already have a break in here maybe to the downside. Okay, maybe depending on where price actually is reacting in here. Okay, so that's basically a little bit of what we have, different depending on the scales that you're looking for. We have an engulf upwards and then a move downwards in there. Okay, so price actually already started to break some lows in here, and it was all good. So yes, now, is there anything at the highs in here that you can look for some reaction, or for price to use to look for more sales? We'll see. We have the base of this level, so maybe in here could be something, and then we may have a little bit more at the highs as well to look for. So yeah, but overall then price goes may wants to go a little bit higher, and this is where now when price is in the middle, it's a bit trickier. Like, and it's in the middle basically of this range. Like, this is basically where we are right now, in the middle of this range when looking at this time frame in here. Okay, so yeah, price can again maybe can react from here and move down, the same way that maybe can retest one more time this level and just use it as a long. So it's going to be interesting to see within this level as well which direction actually price is going to go towards to. Is going to respect something in here, or is going to respect something in here. Yeah, I would like personally, I may like to actually to see price reacting a little bit from here, and then actually kind of breaking it and targeting a little bit more closer to this level, to then react a little bit more like this, maybe not really going to the upside from here, okay, even though there's maybe these levels of the money that is still fresh. When you have actually this accumulation of lows in here, that price can easily fake out in there. And the reason that I may not, the reason that I mentioned that I wouldn't really like to see, or I'm not, can be the possibility of price not just pausing in here and start to move upwards, is, as I mentioned before, like we have actually a double bottom created in here. Okay, therefore we can actually do something more like this, maybe pretend that it's holding a little bit one more time, and then finally making that move down, and then start breaking and being respected like that. Okay, so that would be something more interesting maybe to look at, and then maybe could follow this engulf in here and maybe start challenging towards that level. Okay, and this is again if the dollar index actually wants to continue to be trading within this range, or is going to just start resuming to the downside. And if by any chance price actually wants to go lower and break these lows, then actually this level in here may be an interesting one to actually be used on the opposite side, which is basically to hold it and move lower. So that's actually an interesting level then to look for that potential continuation to the downside. But it's a little bit of what I'm looking for on the dollar in here. If by any chance price does want to just keep respecting this level and start aiming towards kind of the target in here, then that's a different story, and then we'll see if price by any chance respects this level, or if it actually breaks it above it and now starts looking for this move in here. Okay, so those will be a few situations to look at on the dollar index in here. Now moving along, and now let's take a look at the indices. Okay, and this is exactly what you're looking for as well. Okay, so looking at the S&P. Okay, again the turn occurring around that 28-29 in here. Just give me a second. All right, so S&P, okay, and this is exactly what we had. So bigger picture, S&P is the only of the indices, comparing with Dow and the NASDAQ, that it hasn't yet broken or created all-time highs. Okay, so it's still respecting these highs back in 2022. Okay, basically 2 years ago, that's where price is reacting. Again, this is another zone that we covered and that we have been looking for. Price eventually to fake out these highs, and then we mentioned that there was still this level of supply in here that price could react from. Okay, this is basically the last level of that is still fresh within these highs on the S&P. Okay, because if you actually pay attention to it, we do have this range. Okay, basically price may have already reacted from the extreme of this level, so that's done. And then so this supply in here now it's done. Then we had this supply in here, which is, it was still fresh, and then we had kind of the base of the level, which may have been reacted a little bit from here, which is maybe left shoulder. Okay, maybe there's something in here that we are not looking at on this 4-hour time frame, and maybe price already reacted from it, but this level was fresh. Okay, and that's basically where price now is reacting from, or it reacted from on the 28-29 of December. So that's basically one of the last fresh levels in here. Maybe in the lower time frame there's something here at the extreme, but it's already too close to the all-time highs. The expectation to be to look for a bigger move upwards. Now, so part one, higher time frame level, looking left, where is price reacting from? It's reacting literally from a really good level, fresh origin of the move, and we could anticipate a reaction from it. Second, how is the approach? Okay, so how is the approach? The approach is quite good. Okay, so we had our initial reaction in there on the 20th of December, and price moved down, and what happened is that price actually managed to break this low in here. Okay, and this was one of the clues, and this is again similar to what I just mentioned on dollar index, with that candle, that weird candle that was created. This was something that also happened in here, and this helps with targets. Okay, so when you're looking at these specifics moves, this helps with future targets. So what you can expect from the market when looking at for a potential target when price eventually finally turns once again. Okay, because not always when you see an engulf happening, not always going to be just respecting this level and respecting engulf. Okay, maybe there's still something on the left side, there's a level slightly above it that price actually wants to go there before then making that final move. But these engulfs start to show the weakness, it starts to show the intention of moving lower, and we had literally a clear space then to be filled, which was in here. If you remember, for example, NASDAQ actually filled out the move straight away into here, not mistaken, when it created this drop and it filled everything in here. This was basically the move created during that FOMC meeting, which was, again, let me just say, yeah, it was on the 13th of December, so it was a Wednesday, and S&P have never really filled this range in here. So there was literally this space, this gap in here to be filled. Then we had the beautiful compression on the way up, start breaking highs, and then finally had the turn, and basically from here you are just looking for price to break this structure to the downside, and since then you can look for it. Okay, and this happened actually around, yeah, basically Tuesday, and the first trading day of the year. That's when price reacted perfectly from the supply in here, and this is actually kind of the analysis that we did in here. Okay, this is basically me during the morning calls that we do for our traders, and there you go, right? So that was the expectation. This was what we were looking for on the S&P. This was Tuesday, and we were looking for price to eventually get towards this level in here. Okay, so that's exactly what we were anticipating. Again, we just looked at the still fresh levels that you're looking for within this level, which one of them was somewhere in here. Okay, again, this level in here was already taken, so price was moving down, and the reaction here was actually quite good. So yeah, that's basically what you're looking for in here. This level kind of was still fresh, price reacted from it, but aside from that, everything was compressed a little bit in here. It was still fresh, and then everything could go just until price gets to the other level. And this is how you can manage targets, or start to manage your expectations towards what targets to look for. Not all the time you're going to have this type of opportunities. Okay, for example, if you are looking for that sell opportunity when price is maybe still in here, maybe could have, because I already have a little bit of this level, but paying attention that maybe price can still go there and maybe fake out this one more time, and that's a kind of a tendency that tends to happen. Okay, when price kind of goes upwards, when you do have the first drop, price actually tends to one more time just fake out this one slightly before actually then turning and making the move. Just what usually tends to happen. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes just respect that level and just follows through. It depends maybe what's going on in here on the left, and also where price is reacting in there. So, but that's basically what you're looking for. Okay, so we're looking for price to have a little bit of a reaction from here, as I mentioned, as you could see in this picture. That's exactly not this one, but this is exactly where price end up reacting from. Okay, so we had this level, and then after that there was not really anything else to hold price, and price will just move to the downside, filling the range and getting to the target that we were looking for in the first place. Now S&P can still go much further down. Okay, maybe there's still not confirmation that price is ready to turn. This is now a different way to manage your own trades. We could anticipate price to fill this range. Okay, so the rectangle, actually in the video we mentioned about it, it's maybe not from here, but actually it can be extended towards this level. And if you want to always have this clarity, you can actually practice to draw these kind of rectangles and to look at where maybe the target is, or kind of where the move started, and when it turns, where are you expecting for price to go towards to in here. This is basically what this red rectangle means. In this case, it could definitely be extended into this level, and that's kind of what we also mentioned in that video. And that can be quite clear. It can be as small as this, the rectangle, just from here to here, and then as soon as you break this level, then you extend it all the way towards to the next level, and keep trading like that. And all of a sudden it's going to give you a bit more clarity of what to look for, expect for when price is moving in here. So yeah, that doesn't mean that S&P now is going to just literally resume the move upwards. That doesn't really mean that, but in terms of the first target and expectations, that's exactly what you're looking for. Maybe S&P actually wants to still go and respect this level, maybe the base of that the previous high that was created in the summer, and maybe somewhere in here is where maybe price will eventually go to before maybe resuming upwards. We'll see. Okay, but this was a clear level, and if you're thinking in terms of targets, that's a level to take some targets, and it's exactly where price reacted from during the NFP in here. Okay, and meanwhile just starting to go higher again. What we mentioned just before, where is price reacting from on the left, and what was the approach as well on the way towards that important level, and the way price has been moving 1 or 2 days before. Okay, so we had that big move down. This was kind of Tuesday, then kind of create a bit of a range, mid-range, perfect to look for a trade. Okay, we have the Quasimodo in here. That's kind of exactly the type of pattern that tends to happen as well as a mid-range to continue as a continuation pattern in this case. Okay, we have the reaction from here, then you have kind of a little bit of a fake out, and then price just continues. Perfect. And then you start having a little bit of liquidity in here. Okay, starting to respect that that low, creates a little bit of a support, and then you make one last attempt to go. Okay, sometimes again, why did all this move? Because that's basically all the space that it is. Sometimes the demand is actually just maybe sometimes just closer to it, and everything is going to happen just like this. Okay, without making all this move down. That's basically what happened on Friday. Price went until finally it spiked and it made that move in there. Yeah, it's basically what happened in here. And now let's see, right? It feels kind of the first level. Again, if you're about to draw the rectangle now to the downside, that will be somewhere in here. Okay, we're looking basically from these highs all the way until kind of where this level was created. This was full compressed, and yeah, that's basically the one, because this one still respected that level, and then all of a sudden if you start breaking above this level, maybe you're looking for price to get a bit more in here, and then you're going to go look for that level. Bear in mind that this level maybe still be fresh in here, so you need to pay attention to of that as well. Okay, but this level in here is basically already part of the extreme in here. So yeah, that's basically what we need to again play zone by zone. For example, if you are looking for any longs even from here, a natural target it will be to see price getting closer to this level. Basically in here price already reacted from on the way down, therefore we are looking for the next level. So that could have been one of your targets, definitely to pay attention to. Expecting price to break above these highs, that goes into the kind of guessing and not exactly the space that the market is already telling you that it wants to go towards to. Okay, if it breaks the highs, and then maybe kind of looking upwards. But if it doesn't, and this is literally the range that you are looking at this point, right? It's the same thing in here. Price already broke the low. It's telling us that it wants to start going lower. So yeah, that's a little bit of again just some tips in here to how to analyze the market and to manage your expectations in terms of targets. Targets is an important topic. Actually, it's one of the most important topics to look at what space is available to look for trades. Yeah, if I was about to ask you what's more important, entries or targets, that would lead into an interesting conversation to see what each one pays attention to. Personally, I do targets for me are actually the most important thing, because without a target, without a space, there's actually no trade. Even if the level is good, if I don't see space for price to move towards to, then I'm not really going to be interested in taking that trade. Now, looking at the S&P, yes, there's maybe the chance that price could go slightly lower. Again, it's the only asset or the only index that hasn't really managed to break all-time highs, and maybe that's still the expectation, okay, for the indices to actually, or the S&P to actually go and create that all-time high. We'll see. Natural level, yeah, maybe the retest of this important level of support resistance. Maybe something in here can hope for price to move upwards. At the highs, there's maybe still something in there that could hold price to downside as well. Okay, something in there. Again, this level in here is still fresh, and let's see if actually price kind of respects this level one more time and goes. It kind of broke slightly above this upper trend line, but yeah, as long as it still respects this level, I don't really see it as an go upwards. I actually would like to see this one actually being broken to start looking for price to go slightly higher in here. So yeah, we'll see what the indices are going to do, right? This was a really high probability setup to look for a short. We have a clear target to look for. In here, we have a clear turn. We have a clear compression towards it. And yeah, those are the trades that we mostly aim to look for. Okay, high probability setups that may take 1 or 2 times, kind of a few days to develop. But then when it turns, it's quite great. And then you have different types of opportunities how to participate in this move, from the extremes, from the mid range, until you start paying attention to when price starts to slow down a little bit, which may be the moment to start taking those targets out, and try to pay attention to when maybe the retracement is about to happen. NASDAQ, same story, a little bit more aggressive to downside, a bit more bearish, but it was the same story. Okay, so we had this compression, price just turned again. It was around the 28, 29. It actually started to turn even before that, and then just continuation, and now I kept respecting this level to the downside, and you keep moving lower in here. Okay, and that's basically a little bit of the range that you are looking for. This high, I think, depending on where you're looking at it, this high may have actually already broken that level, and so it depends. If this actually had broken already that level, maybe anticipating price to go higher. In here, it doesn't really look like. Therefore, that's actually the range that you're looking in here. Okay, so the rectangle is actually kind of in here if you want to actually be more certain of the move, and there was literally this clean supply still in here for price to go or to react from, if you're interested, again looking for a long in here. But to move to the downside, again, quite good, and now price actually got on for testing this getting closer to this new structure that was created in here after we finally managed to break that level, that high in the summer. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of what you're looking for in here. An interesting point is that actually price already broke this level. Okay, again, same story, when price just break it, and then we have a clear space a bit more to the downside. That's something that you want to pay attention to. Those levels, they can work quite nicely as targets, right? For now, this level in here can still maybe hold it. Now this level may have already been touched in here, which makes it a bit more weaker in there. We do have definitely this previous level support resistance, which may be still around this level, which looks like it's still fresh. But all of a sudden, if price just continues to to kind of go a little bit more lower, then in here, expectations maybe for price to just go into the next zone somewhere in there. Okay, again, this was all-time highs being created in here, and then we had a little bit of a turn. Looking at this daily time frame, yeah, there's maybe something within this structure that you need to pay attention to. Okay, in here to see how price may react from. This is basically the structure created after we broke these highs, so that can be important. Looking more into the lower time frame. Yeah, there's maybe this demand zone in there, so price kind of haven't even broken that low, kind of that level. Yeah, personally, not the biggest fan of this move in here. Looks like it's been a bit compressed. I don't really see kind of that manipulation. Maybe in here there's a little bit of move down just to go higher straight away. We did manage to break this upper trend line that was again created since that rally at the end of October all the way until beginning of this year. Interesting enough is that if you pay attention to NASDAQ, again, if that happens on the 30 trees in a row, it will be quite amazing. But pay attention to this, right? So when you had these highs being created in here in 2022, look at this candle. This is basically the beginning of the year. Okay, so exactly the turn as well on the 27, 28, 29, and then on the 3rd, 4th of January we started this bearish trend. Okay, so that was 2022 and the beginning of a bearish year that we had, right? Everyone remembers that. And now, what happened last year? In here. Okay, 29, beginning of the year, on the 6th, which is actually with the this was actually different because it was a non-farm payroll news as well, and that actually helped price to move to the upside. This time actually the non-farm payrolls actually kind of pushed price a little bit higher. So it was the opposite. But what I want to say is, again, first week of the year basically initiated what it would like to be this bullish trend that we started in beginning of 2023. Okay, so bearish trend started also in the first week of the year. Bullish trend started on the first week of the year on NASDAQ. Okay, so again, if that was an indication, we just start to have this bearish trend or this bearish move now in beginning of this year, which again we'll see if this is beginning of something, or and if price by any chance is going to continue or just create now a bearish move from here. There's a lot of things that needs to happen until then. Again, we have this structure. We have maybe a few levels still at the highs in here that could work out as a short, or we're going to just challenge a little bit, create new highs until maybe move lower. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting year that we're going to have ahead of us to see what may happen in here. So yeah, a little bit of this range, we'll see now. Right, again, price is in the middle. Price is still not really showing any indication that wants to completely reverse. We need to pay attention to maybe a few levels that you may think that are important. So yeah, this is the moment where we are going to be just waiting and seeing. Okay, this is the big reversal that we want to try pay attention to, look and to catch. At this point, we haven't really got any of this to look for that maybe turn in here, and maybe the expectation is to still look for something maybe like this, maybe price reacting again one more time from around this level, taking out maybe this highs, and yeah, and dropping from there in here. Now looking at the Dow hasn't been as bearish as the other two. Okay, again, we are still with these all-time highs, similar kind of a move, similar kind of a range that maybe we would like to see being filled, but price actually is bouncing in between a little bit more. Okay, so this was actually the prediction that we did on the Dow again on Tuesday. Okay, price was about to turn, and this was kind of again the same exercise of looking what levels are still fresh or not, and that's basically one level that was still fresh. It was in here, so we're looking for price to break below these two, break below that level, and then have a deeper test towards the supply. That if this was actually start to happen, and then aside from that, everything in here looks a bit compressed now, and they're looking for price to maybe get below that level, maybe somewhere in here. Paying attention also that this one may have been already a break to the downside in here. But yes, Dow hasn't really been as bearish as the other ones. It's still kind of on the way to potentially fill all this move in here, and this is where you need to be a little bit cautious as well, because if these guys in here actually want to turn, okay, I'm talking about S&P and NASDAQ, maybe we're going to have also that bullish move in here. Okay, maybe without price which is going all the way there. But as predicted, price did manage to break below that level, reacted from here, retraced to the supply level, then kind of created a new one as you continue to break new lows, and then kind of again another move down. Basically everything in here a bit compressed, and now price actually took below that low, getting a little bit more into this demand zone. Another reaction from there, left shoulder now in here, and yep, and now price kind of a bit in the range. Again, there's maybe more room, a little bit more to the downside to eventually fill completely this range in here. So let's see if that's going to happen. Yeah, but price at this point, which anytime it goes higher, it just keeps respecting the supply levels that are in there. So we'll see what's going to happen in here on the Dow. But maybe, yeah, again, that space maybe to be filled in there can be quite interesting. This was definitely a good short to look for. And then you have DAX. Okay, and DAX was again another one. This was an engulf to downside that we noticed. Okay, it looks like that maybe price or the initial range, it was still within this low, but in reality everything in here was compressed, and that was something that we mentioned. Everything was compressed in here, and you had this double bottom, and then all of a sudden you have finally this engulf to the downside in there. Okay, so that was something to look at. Then you had price respecting the extreme at this level quite quickly, and this then for us was a key level to look for. Either price kind of would respect this level and go higher from here, or if it breaks below it, then we have this place to go all the way and fill this range and even start looking for a move to downside, since again we already broke that low in there. And this level started to, instead of working as a long, it actually, again similar to what we just discussed, it actually worked as a short to hold price down. So yeah, target now in here what you're looking for, and yeah, there's maybe more room to downside in here to look, yeah, perhaps, but price actually now is approaching an important previous level support resistance, so we'll see how price may react now from here. Okay, and what kind of opportunities we are going to have from here. We do have now this double top, so that can be quite interesting. Also, if by any chance price does want to break out that level one more time before maybe making another move downwards. Okay, so we start having a clear break to the downside. We may have that final fake out before making that move down from here. Can be quite interesting. Now we do have the supply, which price may respect it in here. Okay, that can work as well, but eventually, yes, this can be an interesting zone to pick out. This about top. Now that we had kind of a break in there, yeah, that actually could be a great level. Maybe then you can start looking for price to eventually challenge and recover this move in here, which you may have this level in here. Aside from that, yeah, a bit more of reaction in there, and all of a sudden you can start targeting price to go towards more of this level. Maybe nothing in here, price can go below that level. Yeah, that's kind of what may happen during this Q1 in here, after this big rally again in November and December on the DAX. All right, so yeah, that's something to consider in here, which again can provide really good opportunities to look for. And then the Euro index, this is something that we are looking for as well. So again, we've been bearish in here, potential move a bit more further down. Now we created this double bottom, which starts to maybe create a little bit of a potential PI to look even for more longs, depending on how price is going to react after fake outs this level. Like we want to see this double bottom being faked out, and then we'll see what's going to happen in here. Okay, because bigger picture, again, I'm not the biggest fan of the zones in here. Okay, it looks like price has already spiked a lot in there. Maybe something a bit more at the extreme. I'm not really sure, because I wouldn't mind to see. I wouldn't mind at all to see price moving a bit more further down after reacting a little bit from this level. Okay, so I wouldn't really mind to see that happening at all, which means that, yeah, sometimes literally you are just bearish or expecting a level to be broken, but all of a sudden price starts to bring this kind of PI, which looks like a really interesting PI in here of a reversal. Right, it's just almost waiting for this to happen, then maybe break and maybe have that turn for price to challenge these highs in here. And this could be a possibility based on what price is doing at this point in here. Yeah, bigger picture again, maybe I would like to see just price moving actually slightly lower before maybe aiming to go higher in here. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen on the Euro index. And then the yen pairs also really good move. Okay, so this was another one that it was quite that we looked at. Okay, basically started the year price reacting from that level. It was a really good zone. We mentioned that this was still a fresh level. It's kind of we have two examples in here, right? So basically in here where you fake out this level and react from the supply that was still fresh, and then you have the bigger one, which is basically this level in here where we have the break in here without price actually filling this range, which basically just reacted right now. And then you have this level of supply, which was still fresh since this high never really reacted from it. You start having that move, and then the third high. So yeah, so we noticed that break to the downside, opening door a little bit more to the downwards, and then we had actually this level in here. That was a good level to look for. Now, personally, not the biggest fan of this triple top, but the way price actually moved in here, it was actually quite good. It created this KM in there, so it was not that bad in there, right? And that's basically what we were looking in here. Yeah, that's basically the nows in what we looked at in here. Already looking for price to get below that level, fill this range, and yeah, this is kind of what we were aiming for on the the yen index, which then kind of led to good longs on the yen, euro yen, for example, in there. Yeah, now from here we'll see, right? Maybe because it respected so nicely and it's kind of a second break of a low, maybe the tendency it will still to continue to go slightly lower again. But in terms of space to be filled, that was basically a really good zone to aim for. Okay, bigger picture, this is what we have. This level, again, was literally still fresh. None of these was reacted from it. And it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to kind of move upwards from here, or is going to just maybe retest a little bit of this level in here and maybe resume to move to the downside after breaking this lows one more time and eventually getting a bit more closer to either somewhere in here or even a bit more downwards. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen between this level in here. Bigger picture, maybe price still wants to go a bit more into that level. So it's going to be again an interesting level. I think bigger picture we are reacting or in between this range, which again may still have a little bit more room to the upside in here, the same way that price could correct all the way until here, maybe before trying to aim to go higher again. So this is where we are at this point on the yen index in here. Right now it's reacting still from this range, respected quite nicely this supply. This is basically the zone created after the break of that low, so that kind of matters a little bit. And then we'll see if you break above it, then you can aim a little bit more to the upside. So yeah, that's kind of what we have in here. All right, this was already quite a lot of explanations. By the way, let me know if you are getting value from here and what kind of, and if you like me to explain in so much detail when I'm looking at this, or if you want me to be a bit more straightforward in what I'm looking at. Like, so my idea is always try to not explain what you are looking at, but always to try to help you to then be able to do it yourselves as well when you're doing your own analysis and understand the thought process behind it in here. So moving along, not for the individual currency pairs. Okay, so starting with euro dollar, that's basically what you're going to be looking at this point. And again, really good reaction from that level. Again, that was basically the end of the year, like on that 28-29 of December. Then it broke below it, reacted really nicely from this level and start moving to the downside. Okay, we broke into this level, we have all this compression, price feel it, and then kind of yeah, a little bit in here, and then basically all this was the space to look for. Maybe this one could be just in here. This level in here price reacted yesterday. It was quite nice. It was especially on the 4-hour time frame, it was still kind of a fresh level in here below this low, and that's basically where price ended up reacting. We created that double low, kind of reacting from here. What did you have? Also, it was starting to break these highs on the approach again. Like, that's exactly, as I mentioned, what we want to look at. Price breaking highs on the way down, so that starts to show some weakness into a really good, interesting level on the 4-hour time frame as well. Now, one of the clues, again, if you want to pay attention to, one of the clues to try to predict if we are expecting a new low to be created after we break a high. So we just broke a high in here, right? So basically we have this low that managed to break these highs in here, basically start showing indication that price may want to go or start to think about going to the upside. And one of the clues to understand if we should expect price to respect the low and go higher, or if we expect a new fake out. Okay, so there are maybe two levels to pay attention to. Okay, so first and foremost is actually the origin when price is created, kind of when this bottom is created in here, this low, are still fresh orders in there, yes or no? Okay, basically price already reacted from here, not revealing any levels fresh behind in here, which means that whenever price then will retrace in here, this level is already weak, so price maybe just go find something else underneath it before maybe making the turn. So that could be one of the scenarios. Okay, for example, if price just pauses in here, doesn't really create this spike, maybe that could be a high probability that price could respect from here and maybe go higher. Again, this is something that you can test, look for yourself, look for examples and so on. Secondly, what is the other one? Like, it's actually in regards to the moment of the fake out. Okay, so we have this high, and we have the engulf to the upside, right? Basically this high in here breaks this level and starts showing indication that wants to go higher. So another clue is actually if you just extend this line to the right side, basically creating now a kind of a right shoulder, after my right shoulder. If price after faking out this level, if price respects almost perfectly or basically perfectly this line in here, right? So if you have a low, if you break it, okay, and if price respects this level in here and starts moving lower, this actually makes it a bit more of a bearish move than the bullish engulf. Okay, so when you do have that level, also there's a high probability that you may create actually a new low before maybe turning to the upside. Okay, so again, pay attention to this level in here. If these highs don't occur, maybe again that could be a good indication that from here price could go higher. If they happen, the price respects this level, which in the moment it's a great level to look for a short. Okay, when you have actually this break in here, again depending on where price is it the first time that price breaks the highs or not? Again, there's more things to pay attention to, but if price actually breaks something in here without really reaching maybe the final target in there, it's basically kind of an engulf down, then this level in here is actually a great level to look for a short and expect price maybe to fill all the rest of the range in here. Okay, this actually makes it a really good level to look for an opportunity in there to look for a short. Okay, again, basically then you can look at this like this and you can get into more details. This is actually great engulf to the downside, and there you go. Okay, so yeah, perfect. Yeah, so that's a little bit on the euro. Again, good reaction. Next level on the euro, definitely it will be to see price maybe reacting a little bit more from this structure in here, and we'll see if after reacting from here, are we going to just resume the move lower again? Because bigger picture, just the same thing on the dollar index, that we noticed that dollar index broke that high on the 1 hour or 4 hour time frame, but then reacted from something interesting on the lower time frame. It's just the same thing on the euro. Okay, this is actually kind of an engulf to downside. Okay, let's not get it twisted. In the bigger picture, this is actually an engulf to downside, which maybe price can go upwards first before maybe resuming the move to downside, or getting even a bit more deeper into here before moving to downside, or maybe even breaking these highs, which again, then when you need to pay attention to the bigger picture, because what we have in the bigger picture is actually price is reacting from here. And then you can ask yourself if this is actually the last destination of the last level on the euro, and price from here could go all the way down, or by any chance this price still wants to go a bit more into this level before making this. Okay, and yes, personally I do like the idea of price maybe making another attempt to go higher and faking out now this double top in here or these areas, and then maybe turning from there again, of course depending on where actually this low is reacting in here. Okay, that can be quite interesting to look at, and those are the different scenarios that we pay attention to on when analyzing and looking for these kind of opportunities in here. Okay, so from the lower time frame all the way eventually to the dynamic of the bigger picture, and when to expect maybe bigger moves or lower moves in here. Yeah, so again, that's basically the euro dollar. Maybe it's something in here can be quite interesting. This again, don't get it twisted, for me it's an engulf to downside, which can be respected from here, or price can go a little bit upwards or even fake out that high again. Then depending on the approach, that also helps to start seeing if there is any weakness or not. If there isn't any weakness, then maybe just wait and let price break to the next level until eventually turns, just similar to what happened on the S&P as we described before in here. If prices want to go a little bit more farther down and respect the engulf down, then you are looking for price to get closer to this level, and then we'll see what may happens next in here. Because actually in the bigger picture also, this maybe look like that price may have broken something in here, and maybe there's more room to downside. Maybe it's just a retracement towards this level before price making something like this. Okay, we'll see if that's about to happen or not on the euro in here. Again, then we look at the dollar and everything else, and we'll see what may be the case. Pound dollar. it reacted from a really good level. Again, this was again on 28, 29 of December. Apparently that could have been a great day to look for trades. It finally managed to fake out this level. I was never a big fan of this level, and I mentioned that several times, and it finally managed to fake out that level. It's a really good level on 4-hour time frame, is fresh, and that's basically where price reacted from. And now we may have this structure in here. Okay, so we did manage to fake out this low, not exactly this one, so we did never manage to break below this low. So 1 second. Yes, we never really managed to break below that low, so it's a bit confusing in that sense. We kind of still trading within this range. I would have preferred even yesterday lows with the NFP if price had actually had a little bit more of a break below this level and go higher, which maybe then from here could be a great short opportunity. Okay, there's still a fresh level in here above these highs that price can that price can fake out. And maybe react from, maybe aim to the downside, but I would definitely prefer to see price actually breaking at least slightly below this level, opening the space to go towards there. Yeah, so let's see, it's in the middle of the range. Now, just same story a little bit, even though it's by slightly different level. This was a good level to expect some reaction from. I'm not the biggest fan of thinking that this is the last destination on the pound. I could still see pound getting a little bit more to the upside before making this big move. But we'll see, right? There's already a little bit of good structure in here that price could use to aim to go a bit more lower, even just retesting this demand zone, eventually kind of getting a bit more closer to that level. I do like where pound is reacting in here, so eventually could actually aim a little bit more to the upside. We'll see. Personally, I've been looking for other pairs to look for trades rather than the pound dollar. I'm not the biggest fan of kind of this range in here, so yeah, I actually looked for something else. For example, the indices provided a much better opportunity in here, and yeah, my focus is literally to look for high probability setups and try to avoid these kind of mid ranges in there. Euro pound just continues to move kind of correct. Okay, so we had this range. Actually, we predicted this move perfectly when price was still in here. We talked about the weakness that we wanted to see, the turn and everything. Now, even though we kind of predicted really nicely the direction on the euro pound and basically filled the range of this compression. Okay, so we had this compression here, price filled the range of it, basically got to the extreme in there. Now, question mark. Yes, I would prefer to see price going there, but it's kind of not exactly within the initial expectation. Expectation is just literally to fill the compression, and it did. So what I wanted to say is, even though we kind of managed to predict quite nicely the direction on the euro pound in here, especially after starting breaking this level, breaking these lows, entering into this compression, working upwards, you can definitely see that this was not an easy pair to trade, right? You can see a lot of spikes up and down, up and down, up and down. This is definitely not the easiest pair to trade in here, right? Even if you're involved in the trade in here, you kind of have a lot of drawdowns in here, kind of a lot of move to the downside, corrections, spikes below, and eventually price got there, right? So again, and that happens, like sometimes you manage to predict correctly, but then it's not the easiest just pair to trade, even though your prediction was correct and you managed to predict quite nicely what to expect from here. Now, bigger picture. This is basically kind of what we're looking for. Maybe this euro pound is going to continue. Just curious to see how price may react from here. But maybe you can actually aim a little bit more lower towards this level, and there are still fresh levels, fresh orders above in there as well to look for. So yeah, it's a little bit of what to look for in there. Aussie dollar, this is another one that we predicted quite nicely. Okay, so we started to be bullish since that move in here at the end of October. This was kind of the moment that there was kind of a CPI higher than expected. Then they hike one more time. The governor of the Reserve Bank of Australia actually made a comment on this day saying that it was a little bit of a concern with the high CPI report that came out. Then they hike again, as I mentioned, one more time, 25 basis points. And yeah, that basically was a little bit of a shift on the trend in here on the Aussie dollar. Also, looking at the technicals, it made completely sense where price was actually reacting from in here, collecting all this liquidity. And now we reach the target. Okay, so we reached the other extreme of this move, which we in here, it was still fresh. This highs never reacted from it, and yeah, we reached there. So that's when we started now to literally maybe close your trades and start looking for the shorts in here. Again, the approach, perfect. Compression. It was a perfect move. Again, 28, 29 of December. When the turn happened, started breaking below it, reacted really nicely from that level, and since then just moving to the downside. We feel now the other range, okay, in here, basically where this new beginning of this compression started. This becomes now a good target, okay, to look for, at least the first initial target, just the same way that the initial first target from this move upwards was maybe to test this level, or maybe even aim a little bit more there. But yeah, but this level in here could be a good target. Everything is compressed in here, especially after price breaks kind of these highs, which again, some of the highs are already being broken. And then kind of if price starts breaking above it, then you can start looking higher. The same thing happened in here, okay? So first initial target for any sales, it would have been somewhere in here. Now that you kind of broke into this level, maybe you can aim towards here. What we have in here is actually we have a triple top at this point, and eventually I would like to see price turning or faking out this level and maybe getting even closer to here. But for that to happen, we definitely need to wait first for this level to be broken. Otherwise, price may just respect it and may create a new range and maybe start now trading in between this level once again. So that's a little bit of what we have on the Aussie dollar. Yeah, this looks like kind of again an interesting engulf down in which we broke below this level as well. So we'll see. May have actually opened the space to go a little bit more to the downside. So let's see what's going to happen now in here. And then we have Euro Aussie, which has been super compressed on the moving to the downside. Again, maybe this is not yet the final destination, even though kind of a good reaction from this left shoulder. Maybe price does want to continue to go slightly lower. So yeah, I'm curious to see how price may react around this level in here. Maybe a fresh level in there to look for. Yeah, this also was fresh. So we'll see. Okay, if price does respect this level and literally almost feels the compression, or by any chance starts to move a little bit more to the downside in here. Okay, again, it's going to be interesting also comparing with the Aussie dollar. And then we have the yen, the Aussie yen in here. Again, bigger picture from what we are looking for. I'm expecting price, or I would like to see price still getting closer to this level. We start to have this strong double top created in here. We have a lot of compression being created. Price kind of made its move down, kind of respecting something in here, or kind of even managed to slightly break that level. But bigger picture, we do have this double top in here. Price already reacted from it. Detract from it one more time. Maybe there's something in here to look for. Price kind of starting to create this double top in here as well. But I would like to see actually price maybe respecting this level and eventually taking out of it, getting closer to that range on the upside, somewhere in here maybe, and then having a little bit of that correction to the downside, maybe filling this range in here. Okay, that would be kind of an interesting potential setup on the Aussie yen in here. Or by any chance, if price just wants to actually respect this level and use it as a momentum, then it may go above these highs, and we are looking for price to get a bit more closer to this level, faking out this high in here, and yeah, maybe moving down from there. Okay, so it's going to be interesting when you do break above this level, how price is going to react from whatever structure is going to be created in there. But this is more of a higher time frame potential trade on the Aussie yen, just to pay attention to. Again, some of these pairs, if you don't really want to trade that many, it's worthwhile to maybe just have a little bit of a bigger picture in some of them, and you just literally may open once a month a trade, or try to look for an opportunity once a month in those specific asset or pairs, or just being patient, set up your alerts and wait for them to look until price gets there, and then you can maybe spend more your daily trading on the assets that you pay attention to most. Dollar yen. Okay, so correcting a little bit. Basically, again, this was one of the fresh demand zones in here. Everything in here basically was compressed. Price pausing there, reacting now from from this level. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen next. Okay, this is maybe the bigger picture that we have. Price indeed respected quite nicely that high. So we'll see now. Price managed to continue to break it. We finally kind of start to break a little bit of structure, broke this trend line also to the upside. Again, not the biggest fan of maybe where price is pausing in here, the same way that I don't really like that many things now in here. Price kind of already spiked from there on the way down, so maybe you can look for price to go slightly higher. Again, it's a bit confusing at this point where this may go in here. Okay, when you do manage to break above this level to respect trend line, that maybe could have been a very bit of a lower time frame opportunity to look for. But yeah, bigger picture at this point is not the easiest to look for. Yeah, in there was a really good opportunity to look for shorts. We know our price filled the range, and now kind of wait and see in here. A bit more opposite to what happened actually on the euro yen. Okay, if we managed to go below that level, we're looking for price to get in here, and you had kind of literally this double top to use as a fake out to use as a target. And I'm curious to see now how price may react from here. To be honest, it can be a level to use and continue to move lower, since now we fake out this double top as well, and we finally react from that structure that we've been looking for. And maybe this can be just a little bit of a continuation move down, or maybe price wants to actually get closer to the extreme one more time before maybe going all the way down in here. We did manage to take this low. This was a good reaction from that level. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what may happen in here on the euro yen. I think that may be a little bit of opportunity to look for some shorts, maybe closer to this level. If you do break below this level in here, I think yeah, definitely open space to go up until there, and maybe even further below. On the other side, if you start kind of showing some bullishness in here, then maybe you can look for price to go a bit more to the upside in there. Yeah, and pound yen, that's actually maybe one of the best of this week. When price starting to show some signs of reversal around this level from this lows. Okay, so we actually had that PA of creating a little bit of a range, start breaking to the upside, showing indication that it wants to turn, create that last fake out, and then you have that opportunity somewhere under the test of this level in here, and then you have kind of maybe the continuation also in there. Okay, that's literally one of the patterns that we look for to trade as well. And since then, it was literally just continuation, targeting this double top in here. Yeah, that was definitely kind of the range that you're looking for. Okay, this was the zone in there, and I'm curious to see how price may react now from this structure. It's a good compression now on the way price is moving. Still respecting slightly that high, but yeah, I'm curious to see maybe how price may react. Maybe we can have a little bit of a correction after taking these highs, and at least maybe towards this level, or maybe a little bit more towards the previous level support resistance to see. Okay, so yeah, maybe somewhere around this level is going to be the next zone to pay attention to on pound yen. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD. It reached our target as well. Right? If you remember from last month, or since we started to turn in here, we're looking for dollar CAD to get closer to this lows. There was not really much or anything kind of holding. This was a fresh level, which price still managed to respect this high. So then continuation to downside, and eventually the target was to get closer to this level in here, with the potential also in the bigger picture to see price eventually break even below that level, since this is already kind of a break of this level, and maybe price could get closer in here. Okay, so bigger picture, we may actually eventually continue to move forward. More in the lower time frame, this was definitely a target to look for the sells, and then price actually started to respect them, and now it turned. And now we are kind of somewhere in here, and yeah, basically a little bit curious to see how price is still going to respect this level, yes or no, or kind of going a little bit there. We do also have this trend line in here. Yesterday with the news, it still managed to respect this level, so we didn't really manage to break above kind of this level in there. Yeah, we have something in here as well to look for price to go it, to kind of respect a little bit more and use it as a long. This may have been a little bit almost compressed, with potentially price getting eventually to that level. So this level has already been respected. This is basically a little bit of where price reacted from without this highs. Not the biggest fan. Of this level in here, this was already reacted basically from that base in there. Yeah, so again, it's a bit in the middle. Price could aim towards that level, or it could aim a little bit more further down and eventually maybe correcting a little bit more. Again, bigger picture, this may be an engulf to downside, and price may want to go there. In there. All right, yeah, that's basically on dollar CAD. Euro CAD, since we made that prediction a few weeks ago, I'm not really interested in anything else in here. Okay, so we caught that that prediction in terms of the long from here, then the short from there, and since then price is just ranging. Maybe this could have been an interesting one, but personally, price did manage to break now below this low, so I'm looking for price to eventually go slightly lower, maybe feeling this range here, getting a bit closer to that level, or even then resuming further down. But yeah, basically this week price has been just trading within this range. I'm not interested to trade in here at this point. I'm waiting for price to evolve a little bit from here, either if it goes higher or kind of moving a little bit more to the downside, which kind of more of what I'm expecting in here. Again, depending maybe what euro index may do. Yeah, we'll see. But I'm expecting this euro CAD to continue to move a bit more to the downside. Yeah, now it's just in that range in there. Now from Swiss, this was an interesting one as well. A good reversal in there. Again, bigger picture, we are actually kind of in this bearish move, and now it retested all the way to respect the previous level of support resistance somewhere in here, and there was literally a fresh supply in here at the highs, where basically price actually respected during the NFP. And there's literally kind of this level of supply in there that actually price respected quite nicely in here. So literally you had this double top in there. That's price. We started breaking some lows in here, then just that fake out, that spike into it, and we may go a little bit more to the downside, and then we'll see how price reacts from here. If you want to see any kind of signs of bullishness, yeah, I think I would like to see actually this high has been broken. We kind of have also this bearish trend line. I would like to see maybe this high being broken to start showing some signs of reversal, and then maybe we could retest these lows and go from it, or even create new lows before doing that. Yeah, lower time frame, we may continue just to go a bit more to the downside. Again, price is reacting from a really valid level on the left side. It's basically the previous low. But that's basically what we have in here. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in there. Then you have gold. Again, gold was another one that we predicted quite nicely in here. Okay, so basically this was the prediction in the beginning of the week. This was a really good level to look for a short. We had broken all this structure in here. Okay, and basically we had this range, and then to look for price to fill. Basically everything in here is a bit compressed. Maybe that's a bit of a fresh level in there. Yeah, everything else aside, yeah, this was one of the last demand zones in there, but it's kind of already after price breaking into this structure, and the reaction on the left side, it was really good. So yeah, maybe two levels that I was looking for price to react from, maybe reacting from here and go down, or maybe having one last attempt to go here and maybe fake out this level, which can still happen in the future. Price can still go there. It's literally still fresh, this level, for price to go towards 2, and now we have actually double top in here to look for in there. Okay, so again, that's kind of what we were looking for in here. Okay, so yeah, exactly that level. And yeah, price just respected it and start moving lower in here. There's maybe a little bit of a level in there, and then this is the other zone that I mentioned that maybe still fresh, which gold can still go towards 2. Meanwhile, all this compression was basically filled, and price got really close to the extreme in here. Okay, basically the spike, it's basically where price end up getting in there. So yeah, interesting. Now let's see what gold's going to do, kind of respected already from that supply in there. There's maybe again more room to downside. That's totally possible. So let's see if that's going to happen in here or from there or even from there. I do like it. Yeah, my favorite it will be now eventually somewhere in there, and this level is really good where price actually reacted from. Yeah, and eventually if you do manage to start breaking below that level, maybe you can anticipate or go towards a bit more in here. Okay, we'll see what's going to happen in there, but for now, yeah, something in here. Yeah, it's really good. Then we have oil also. This was another one that we looked for. Okay, actually what I would like to see is that extra low, which never really happened. So price respected that fresh supply from there. What do I have? This one is actually kind of the extension towards there. All right, so price respected actually this valid demand zone. I was looking for price to go slightly a bit lower. We had kind of two left shoulders in here, and price just stayed on that one. On the bigger picture is actually kind of a really valid level. You start to compress a little bit, and then you had the move, and then you start breaking highs. Okay, and now we're looking for price to get a little bit closer to this level, where the extreme of the range is still a bit more into here, around 78, 79 mark. Okay, again, commodities, oil, how the situation in the Red Sea, how those issues that are going on in there with the OPEC members as well. Angola, meanwhile, kind of decided to get out of the OPEC. That was kind of end of last year when they decided to do that. The attacks that are going on in the Middle East as well. Who knows? Like, who knows exactly what's going to happen in here? We may range for a while. Like, there is maybe the economy worldwide to see how well it is and how strong. There is again, since last year, Saudi Arabia and Russia and so on, they decided to cut their production, which kind of had a little bit of an impact on the price of oil for a while. Basically, they're trying to push price of oil higher. Meanwhile, it came all the way down to the 69. It reached a target, right? It reached a target that we were looking for in here at these lows, and starts moving higher from here. Okay, and maybe if you do have that move in a swing position, this is actually a really good level to maybe position ourselves to look for a long based on the price action. Okay, that's kind of a really interesting level to aim for that. Again, this is exactly a great level for our time frame where price reacted from, and maybe there's the extreme of the extreme still underneath that. So if by any chance price wants to go there, it can. Or maybe for the next few weeks, we may be just trading in between this range without really any direction or any proper momentum or direction in here. Okay, and maybe you can have that fresh level in there. There's maybe something in there. There's maybe another one in here. There's maybe that one in there. So as long as you continue to create levels or fresh levels for price to trade from, maybe price will just be ranging for a while. So yeah, let's see. Who knows exactly what's going to happen with all those conflicts that are going on. We can maybe just keep trading what we see on the charts, and yeah, it's basically what we're going to be doing. Yeah, and oil always kind of has good moves. It's again a bit uncorrelated with everything else, so yeah, it's maybe an interesting asset also sometimes to trade by itself. Yeah, all right. What else? It's crypto now, so we do have a little bit of crypto to look at, which again was a really interesting move that happened this week, especially in the beginning straight away of the week in here. So yeah, so we had, where is crypto in here? Let's go. Yeah, so there you go. So we have this this move again. Total crypto market is still lagging in comparison with BTC. Okay, basically what I mean is that BTC is had already reacted from this area. Okay, this kind of where BTC is reacting from, those 45k mark key levels is in there, and total crypto market is still kind of lagging quite a lot in here, but it's still a good level. It's definitely a good level. If you do break above that level, then you're looking for price to fill out its range, which again, it was exactly the same conversation with BTC. There was kind of a good level around that level, around, I think it was maybe 40 or something like that. If you do had broken above it, then quite quickly it would move to 44, 45, which is exactly what happened. Now, with this big spike that happened to the downside this week, okay, and again, it's going to be big macro news with the ETF decision that's about to happen in here, and can be one of the great catalysts. And maybe this move to downside is just to scare some people and for other institutions to actually participate on that big move at a cheaper price. Maybe that's what's going on in here. Maybe why actually they're pushing price down, maybe to scare the retailers, so then actually the institutions can maybe participate and be involved in position themselves long at the better price. Personally, as long as this level keeps holding price, I'm not going to be really much bearish. If you do manage to break below that level, then maybe you can open the doors a little bit more to the downside, and maybe can see a bit more of a bearish move in the short term. At this point, price respected really nice with that level. BTC, it was the same thing. It reached the extreme of the range that we were looking for, which is basically this level, this red rectangle that we have in here. Again, BTC is still reacting from a really good level on the left side. Okay, so basically what I was mentioning before, comparing with the total crypto market and Bitcoin, is that the total crypto market is still reacting from this level, which kind of where BTC also paused a little bit, and as soon as we broke above that level, which we the space to go towards this year, it was quite obvious, and that's basically what we had quite quickly when that happened. And now price is still reacting from here. It's a good level. Again, as I mentioned, it's kind of reacting from the base of it. There's maybe something else a little bit higher in there, but this is a good level to expect price to react from. Also, that was something that we mentioned, which was exactly this, right? So we started to create this liquidity. Okay, we started to create this kind of double, triple tops in here, which again, this is exactly what you want to start paying attention to when price is actually getting closer to an important level on the left side, because it's a great level to fake out when everyone starts being bullish, because if you look at this momentum that happened, it's actually kind of a good level to start looking for some corrections instead. Now, if you do manage to break above that level on the left side, then we can actually start aiming towards maybe this 53k mark. Okay, maybe there's something a little bit above around the 50 mark that can hold price, but then we can maybe start looking higher, maybe 53, and then all of a sudden we start aiming for, of course, to all-time highs. But there's maybe, again, as I mentioned, there's maybe still a few levels in there in here. So now it's going to be interesting to see how BTC is going to be playing around this level. Yes, there's maybe something in here at the highs that can definitely hold price. The same way that maybe there's a little bit of a move in here that price could go towards to. And again, as I mentioned, if we do break below that level, then I think we may have a little bit more of a short-term bearish move before maybe going higher, and maybe can aim towards a little bit of this level in here. Okay, so that's going to be something to pay attention to. Oops, whatever done in there. Yeah, Ethereum also reacted from a really good level. Okay, these lows in here never reacted really from the demand zone, which was now reacted from. Again, Ethereum, personally, I would have liked to see Ethereum still going a little bit higher, maybe to this eventually 2500, which can be maybe an important key level in there. It kind of paused still underneath these highs, created kind of this structure, but the low was really good. Okay, where it reacted from, which is this demand zone. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen next. I would definitely like to see Ethereum going slightly maybe higher before making another big move down. Somewhere in here could also maybe work. If price does want to continue to move a little bit lower, we'll see. We need to pay attention then to the approach in there. But literally, this was a really good reaction, spike into that level in there. And now kind of this one is already kind of reacted from. Maybe they have that one, and yeah, this basically already reacted from there as well. So we'll see if there's something in here still to play with. Right, yeah, in here again, because it was so quick, who knows what's going on in there. And then we have Savannah. Savannah actually, from the moves that happen, Savannah is the one that actually I see this move down, this spike, as an engulf to the downside. The other ones, as I mentioned, is just literally filled the range quite quickly without really breaking any key structure. Okay, Ethereum broke lows, even though kind of reacted from a good level, but Bitcoin didn't really broke anything. And Savannah is actually reacting from, 1 second. And Savannah is actually reacting from a really interesting level on the left side in here. Okay, it's basically reacting from this extreme in there at 126. It's kind of a valid supply level. Then eventually maybe this 166 could be an interesting zone as well, but this level is not bad at all. Okay, we had this high, never reacted from there. It was a good level to anticipate a correction from. And then this is kind of what we have. Okay, so kind of as I mentioned, we managed to indeed break below this level, even broke below this level as well, and we may open the door for price to get a bit more closer to here. Okay, that's maybe a little bit more of the levels that I'm looking for price eventually to fill this range in here. Now there are all of a sudden a few levels to pay attention to. Okay, initially the level that I had in mind was this level, which actually someone respected, but then it managed to kind of move to the downside from here. I was already looking for price maybe to get a little bit higher in there to fake out that level, react from here and move down. Price respected it, which kept which left this level behind and can be an opportunity eventually in the future to look for. Then you have also this one, and then you had also this one, which was basically the supply that created this move down. So those are the basically three levels that I was looking for. Price already reacted from here. Now, of course, as price continues to move down, it starts to create new ones in there. So we'll see how price may react from it. Also, you have maybe some structure in here that can hold. Again, this is such a quick spike that maybe in the lower time frame there's something in here, but there's literally almost nothing in here to pay attention to the way how quick it was. Maybe in the tick charts you can have a little bit more information. We have maybe that low in there, maybe some decision in here with that level in there as well in here. Okay, so basically also on the 1 minute time frame, this is basically the last decision before the drop, which could work as something in there. It's basically where price actually is reacting right now. But yeah, overall, again, it's hard to see it when it's just a big spike in there. Yeah, so again, Savannah, it's actually between all this with the move in here that I'm looking for price to get a little bit more to the downside, maybe get closer to this 75 mark, 76, and maybe can go a little bit more to the upside in there. Okay, so again, it was what a move, right? What a move since the summer that Savannah did. All the way it was what, 12, 13, and then kind of retested a little bit 17. I was actually looking for price to get slightly lower in here. Yeah, meanwhile, kind of made all that move to the upside in there. So yeah, that's basically what we have, and that's it, guys, for this week. That's what we have. Okay, so basically beginning of the year, actually it all started on, as I mentioned, 28, 29, when we started to have those reversals. Beginning of this year, it's on the 3rd, it just confirmed a little bit more momentum, either upside, for example, dollar, downside, the euros, the indices, and so on. And now it's a bit in the middle. Okay, and especially with the move also last Friday with the NFP yesterday, a little bit of a turn, but it may just be a little bit of a retracement before continue. For the dollar to continue to go higher, for the indices to continue to go lower, and maybe even the euro to continue to go lower. Maybe the final target for these initial bearish moves on the indices hasn't really been reached. Therefore, yeah, it's going to be interesting. That being said, what I want to say is that we are a bit in the middle at this point. Okay, we are in the middle, and in the middle there's like the types of opportunities that happen. They're quite different. The way we manage our expectations, they are different as well. And just to have a good practice is, if you want to start following these rectangles, kind of having these levels identified, try to see what is the clearest high probability target that you expect price to go towards. And if you have always that in mind, it's going to help you then in terms of forming your own trading setup to look for the trade, in terms of the execution, and then the target, in trying to look for the best risk reward expected value of the trade. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you got some value from it. Let me know in the comments as well if you're rewatching this, which part you like the most, and if there's anything new that you'd like for me to add it. I will, again, as I mentioned, I will start sharing much more content online. I'm going to start doing small videos or clips from even the sessions that we do with our traders, so we can also start getting some value and not just focus on analysis or trading itself, but focus on everything else that matters to perform well, which goes into accountability, with journaling, with what kind of metrics actually we like to pay attention to. We are focused mostly on process-oriented metrics, which is maybe still a topic that is not that much covered within the trading space. There are some trading journals that actually start covering a little bit that, H1, for example, one that I use, but there's maybe more into it, and that's actually the focus that what we do mostly when we are working with the traders, and to help them understand the mistakes that they do, what is their efficiency in terms of their own trading, where is their weak point, and so on and so forth. All right, so thank you very much. Have a great weekend. I wish a great 2024 for everyone. Future looks bright, and I'm literally looking forward for a great and amazing year ahead of us. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.